Hi, I'm Lippy.
And I'm Grumpy. Together we're Lippy and Grumpy Do Podcasting.
In this episode, more baked beans, vending machine sausages, aggressive otters, and can you have too much pie?
Now, Lippy.
Hello.
I'd like to start this podcast with saying how sad I was to see that James Michael Tyler, also known as Gunther from Friends, had passed away.
It's very sad.
Very sad, 59 from... That's, yeah, a bit of a lump in my throat when I saw that, to be honest. I thought he was a great character in Friends. Really good.
And surprisingly, wasn't even meant to be a character at the start. He was just a one-off, one episode was the plan. Actually,
Really?
The audience loved his part so much they decided to keep him up for the whole series.
Yeah, excellent. Oh, what a story. Apparently he was diagnosed in 2018. Yes, men do get checked.
Yes,
It's worth
very
it is worth
important.
it. Anyway, moving on. Last week we spoke about how many baked beans there were in a standard 415 gram tin.
Yeah.
I did a bit of maths. I resisted the urge to buy one and count them, as yours suggested. So in a 2.62 kilogram catering tin, you weren't far off last week. There were, in fact, according to my calculation, 2,935 beans.
Wow. Oh, I could demolish one of those.
But that's nearly, well, it's over 2.5 kilograms of beans. That's not going to end well.
No, well, not for my partner anyway.
No, indeed not.
My stomach might enjoy it though.
Well, briefly.
Yeah.
And the Screaming Tomato got in touch following our rucksack segment, as he calls it, where we looked at I'm not sure whether it's an acronym or a mnemonic.
I wouldn't have a clue.
No, and then I was re-listening to the Alan podcast, and then he came up with another term which I'd never heard of. Is when you can't actually say it as a word. So, like rucksack and FBI, you don't say fuba, but you would say rucksack. So anyway, we're going to ignore all of that. And he reminded me of a system naming session we had at BMW, which I can't repeat because he came out with was quite rude. But it follows the rules that I said earlier, where you think of something and then you work backwards.
You try and fit it into the acronym.
Yeah, absolutely. But he did raise one called PIOSEE, which apparently is used by pilots, although I've not had this confirmed, which is to do with flight issues. So it's problem identity, information available, options, select options, execute option, and evaluate.
Well, that's not right.
Well,
Unless you've spelt it wrong in your notes, because there's 2 I's in that.
Well, it's problem, information,
Yeah.
options, select, execute, evaluate.
There's too many words.
There are too many words in that. And if you try to remember that whilst there's all sorts of chaos going on around you in an area, that's not
going to happen.
No, I thought it was something like aviate, navigate, communicate was the...
Doesn't aviate just mean fly?
Yeah, basically. So you've got a problem. So just fly the plane to begin with.
Yeah.
To get it flying.
Yeah.
Don't disappear off into the back. Navigate. So you know where
Don't
you're
just
going.
crash.
Yeah, basically, don't crash. Yes, I also found out this week we're on Audible.
Yeah.
I think I may have submitted something some weeks ago, but we appear to be in a slightly bizarre category in politics and social science.
Oh, we like to avoid politics as well.
Well, we do avoid politics completely. But interestingly, our little podcast niche doesn't seem to be particularly well defined. So I've got it down as personal journals in terms of iTunes, but maybe it just doesn't fit in Audible.
Yeah.
Who knows? And I don't know how you see how many plays you've had. I'm sure they'll let us know when we get into double figures.
Oh, I'm sure they will, and I'm sure that may be a while.
Yes, I think it may well be. But you never know. Could be an overnight success.
It
after
could
2
be.
years.
Could be.
And it's bonfire season.
Can't wait.
We've started building the bonfire last Saturday
Yeah.
with a selection of pallets, that some of which are nailed together.
Ooh.
Well, we have steps that go up. So there's a guy competition. And bizarrely, the best guy, so the one that wins, is burnt at the top.
Yeah. It's such a weird tradition. So weird.
It is weird. I've been a couple of times quite close to the bonfire. And the procession that comes through the high street, which is led generally by Land Rover or something like that, or pickup truck, and they have the winning guy on a seat in the back.
Yeah.
In previous years, we've had a drumming band behind it. So it feels more like an execution than anything.
It is, because I've obviously been involved in the procession, and it's like an angry mob with fire and not pitchforks walking down the road behind the guy to then go and throw the fire on and burn him alive.
Yeah.
Well, he's obviously
It is
not
a bit
alive,
odd.
it is fake, but
No.
it's definitely angry mob vibes.
But the reason we have the steps is obviously somebody's got to walk up there. And I think generally we do a bonfire prayer, which is even more obscure.
Oh, that's weird.
From the top. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't know you did that. That's very culty, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. It is a little bit. Anyway, we look forward to that. But I had the opportunity to bump into a few people I haven't seen for a while, including Orange Marshal 2, who was telling me he had Sunday lunch with his parents recently. And he was due to meet up with some other friends at about 6 o'clock. So he thought at about 4 in the afternoon, he thought, I'm just going to have a little nap, just half an hour or so, just to recharge my batteries. So he nods off at 4 o'clock. Next thing he knows, it's gone 10 o'clock in the evening. So
That's a me kind of nap, that is.
that is a pretty impressive nap. I had something similar, but the other way round when I was much younger and been sailing for the weekend. I got home, I'm just gonna have a half an hour nap because I feel. So I got into bed, shut my eyes. Next thing I know, it's quarter, and so I leapt out of bed, ran around, jumped in the shower, got dressed, got into the car, turned the car on just as it was 9 o'clock, and it said, "And this is Sunday 9 p.m."
You thought it was 9 a.m.
I thought I'd slept for 14 hours, but no, I haven't.
Gutted. Absolutely gutted.
Well, it wasn't, because I thought, that's all right. I feel quite awake now.
Yeah.
I can go and do something. Yes, it's happened to us all. Now, do you remember some time ago we talked about a pizza making vending machine in Rome?
Yes.
I came across a sausage vending machine in Germany.
Ooh. Germany do good sausages.
They are renowned for their sausages.
They are.
Now, this doesn't cook the sausages. It's purely a vending machine. They seem to be located in more rural areas where they don't have shops open quite so late.
Interesting.
Absolutely. So if you can imagine, you come out of the bar, you're thinking, I'm feeling a bit peckish, 11 o'clock at night.
I'd like a
I'll go to the
sausage.
vending machine and I'll crack out all sorts of things. So it's not only sausages that they've got in there, they've got eggs. Now, I don't understand how that works, because the vending machines
Quite
work by
aggressive.
dropping stuff into sort of a trough at the bottom where you then put your hand. And I know the eggs are at the bottom, but I would have thought...
It's not one of those fancy ones where the thing goes up and it's like zhoo, 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 and like collects it and then moves it into the pouch.
No, it's the one with the curly wire. So you stick the thing in the...
Are they cooked
wire.
eggs?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because if they're cooked eggs, then that doesn't matter.
Oh, that's a very good question.
It
I
would
don't
just
know.
start the
So-
crack for the peeling. Along with the sausages as well. Are they cooked? Because
No, they're not.
are they in a packet or are they just
Yes, they're in a
loose?
vacuum seal packet, but there's all sorts. There's looks like chicken.
How strange. Well, I would hope the eggs were cooked, because otherwise...
Well, I can only imagine they're at the very bottom and they haven't got far to fall. I can't imagine
Still,
if
you
they
don't have to
smash
drop
the
an
eggs
egg
every time.
far.
No, but I can only... Well, it is in a box. So maybe that protects it enough. Who knows? But that was quite interesting. That could be quite a useful addition to most towns, I would have thought.
Yeah.
And also at the Bonfire, who was off on another planet as usual, various bits and pieces. But a useful piece of information was he was talking about the term the lurgy, which
I've
you've
got.
had a bit on over the last couple of days.
I have the lurgy.
Do you know where the origins of the word are from?
No.
Well, interestingly, it seems to be made up by Spike Milligan as part of the Goon Show in the 50s. And the Goon Show was it was sort of an alternative comedy for the time. And Spike Milligan was a really interesting bloke, suffered a lot, unfortunately, with depression. His war memoirs are a brilliant read, if slightly distracted from the world. So interesting. But yeah, well worth a read. Anyway, they came up with this as part of their radio comedy series. So in the episode of the radio comedy series that featured, it was solemnly announced in the House of Commons that lurgy is the most dreadful malady known to mankind. In 6 weeks, it could swamp the whole of the British Isles. The thing about the lurgy was it didn't actually exist. It was a fabricated disease. But it became a commonplace term. I mean, I remember at school, you always had the lurgy or the dreaded lurgy.
Boys always had the lurgy.
Yeah, there's a number of different spellings for it, either with an I at the end. Interestingly, this article I'm reading here, it seems to think that it may have come from the Second World War in the army there, which would tie up with both Spike Milligan and Harry, both in the war. And as I said, some very, very good by Spike Milligan. So interesting. So next time you say lurgy, it's a completely made-up, fictitious disease. It doesn't exist, so you can't possibly have it.
What if you said, I feel... No, I guess that doesn't work either. Well, then I'm sick. Considering it's Mean Girl season, it's good to use
Mean Girl season? What's that?
You know the movie Mean Girls? It's...
No.
Oh my God.
I recognise the title, but I couldn't tell you what
It's a great film.
Okay.
Even Chris loves it. You would hate it, to be perfectly honest with you. It's about mean girls, like horrible girls.
Oh, not ones that go shopping and buy all the yellow labels and the cheap supermarket owned products.
But anyway, it's a Halloween film and a Christmas film in one.
Well, that's wrong to begin with.
Yeah, because it covers Halloween and it covers Christmas in the film, so it's seen as both. But there's a line in it where one of them it invites the other one out, and then one of them goes, "I'm sick," and then hangs up. So when you're sick, that's what you have to do.
Okay. So no lurgy, just sick.
Yes.
Oh, talking of TV programmes, which we weren't, we're talking of films, I watched iZombie during the week.
Did you? Did you like it?
It was very good, I thought.
That's chuffed. I've watched that. This is the second time watching it. I just find the whole concept really interesting.
It is very clever, and I was intrigued to see the British actor who played Arthur in the TV series Merlin appeared in it. And I recognised the voice, and I looked at him and I thought, it doesn't... Him, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely is. But quite a large number of British actors.
You got quite a long way through if you got to him being in it.
Yes, well, I had it on in the background. Mess it up.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so top tip. That is good.
It's a good
very
series.
well produced as well, I thought.
Yeah.
Good production. Now, if I said otter to you, or otters, family of otters, what would you think?
Cute and fuzzy and swimming on their backs with their little paws up.
You would, wouldn't you? But apparently there's a gang of otters brutalising people and dogs in Alaska.
No.
Oh, yes. Anchorage in Alaska has told locals not to approach rivers and ponds due to otter attacks.
But they're so cute.
They are. They do look cute, but obviously the Anchorage massive otters, are not to be trusted. So this has been going on since September. A group of 4 otters chased down a bitten 9-year-old boy who was on a bike ride.
Oh, okay, that would be quite scary, actually, being chased down by otters.
Yes, I mean, it's a bit like being chased by a swan, to be honest.
They're terrifying.
Absolutely terrifying.
Do you know what that makes me think of? Have you ever seen the film Zootropolis?
No.
It's an animated film, and obviously it's about all animals living together in one big city called Zootropolis. And the animal that portrays the mafia of Zootropolis are these little mice. And that's what that makes me think of. Because they're super tiny and cute, but they're the big boss people of Zootropolis.
Maybe they've seen that and gone a bit rogue.
Yeah.
The experts are at a bit of a loss to explain it, to be honest, because as you say, they're normally quite friendly characters.
Well, they are predators, otters.
Yes, but generally not for dogs and people.
No, things slightly smaller.
But they are thinking that maybe they've had a bad experience with a dog and they go on the attack. And now they've got the taste of blood.
They just want more.
They want young boys on bicycles.
Interesting.
Which, quite scary. So before you go up to an otter and stroke it, thinking it's all cuddly,
don't.
Just think again.
So I've had a realisation today.
Oh, have you?
Yeah, well, it feels like it might be a slightly late realisation, but obviously I'm getting married. Don't know if I've mentioned it.
Once or twice.
But the realisation I had today is that obviously I'll be changing my surname at some point. And unfortunately, people like to spell Chris's surname wrong. And it is a bit of an annoyance for him. And now I've realised it's going to be annoying for me. I'm going to have to spell out my surname every time.
Yes, I think I got it wrong as well.
Everyone likes to throw an extra E in it.
Have you considered that maybe Chris's surname is misspelled?
Yes, I have, because it shouldn't be that hard to spell this word.
What about changing it by default?
Because it's actually rather expensive to change your name.
Well, you've got to change it anyway.
Well, I have to change it, but I would like to have the same spelling.
Yeah,
It'd be weird if I changed my surname to the wrong spelling. Actually, that might be quite funny.
Yes, it would. Yes, darling, I'm taking your name, but I'm spelling it correctly.
Yeah. But also, the thing that bugs me is because this occurrence happened because we got our wedding contract sent through today for our venue.
Okay.
Super excited. So I was reading through it, noticed she had spelt it wrong, and then thought, I definitely put both mine and Chris's names at the bottom of the email with our surnames because I know that his surname's an issue. So I thought if I did that, then... So I went through my emails, checked. I definitely put our names with our surnames at the end of the email. So she just didn't read the email. But also, she had to take his email address. So I really hope she hasn't put that down wrong. Otherwise, who knows when my wedding contract's going to be sent to after I've e-signed it.
Yes, that's very true. Yeah, very true indeed. The thing is that the brain often fills in bits that aren't there.
But not when you're filling out a contract. That's what I was always very...
And like me, I think there's probably only one way to spell that surname.
Yeah.
So if I read it, I would spell it.
You would probably see the E, extra E either way.
So many years ago, there was an experiment on the television done by James Burke, who I've talked about many times on here in his heroes. And it was basically reading stuff out. So it was a bit like a continuity announcer on the telecard, and you'd read through it, and you were reading it quite quickly. And there was a number of mistakes in it. So words would be swapped around or words would be missing. And he did this with... Well, the thing is the brain often fills those bits in.
Yeah.
And apparently women are much better at doing this than men are. So they'll read something and they'll correct as they go. Probably because men are thinking of something completely different.
Not concentrating on the task at hand.
Yes, at all. So just stumbling over it whilst thinking or something like that. So the brain can fill it in. And funny enough, I saw something on the internet today when I was looking for some weird stories, and it was a picture, and the letters on two words, the first letter had been swapped around. But actually, when you read it correctly. And then when I was like, you read that correctly, didn't you? And you go back and you go,
I didn't even notice it wasn't right.
No, didn't notice. So the brain is capable of doing that. So unless you're paying particularly attention to it, which is why you should capture these things electronically.
Yes. But I did find out my wedding planner is new to the venue, which makes a lot of sense because there's a few things she hasn't explained, which thankfully as a wedding planner I'm quite aware of anyway.
That's got to be her worst nightmare though.
Probably, because I sent back so many questions just to double check that what I had thought was right. And she literally came back to all of them being like, yep, that's fine, yep, that's right, yes, sorry, they are the bedrooms that make the cost look ridiculously high.
Okay. So it's only high now, not ridiculously high.
Yes. It was a slight panic when I first saw the amount, and I was like, that's definitely not how much they told us it was going to be.
Yes, well done for querying it.
Yeah, well, I said to her, I was like, I was pretty sure it was the bedrooms that you had just included in the total cost, because they hold bedrooms for us. But I said, I just wanted to check, so I didn't want to get to it and then be like, well, no, it was in your contract.
Yes, quite. Yes. Well, like old William Shatner, who's now working at Amazon to pay off his space trip.
Yes. Poor man.
Now, I've always been a bit of a fan of Lego, unless you happen to stand on it in the middle of the night when it is the worst thing ever. And somebody has built a pizza making factory using Lego.
Real pizza?
Real pizza. So you start off with the crust bit, and the crust is pushed through the machine. The sauce is spread on there. They've got this sauce spreader thing that goes on there and spreads that. Then it drops cheese and other toppings on top. The only bit that isn't done by the machine is putting it in the oven. So you have to take it off, put it in the oven. When it's cooked, bring it back, put it back on the conveyor belt, and it cuts it into slices.
Wow, that's impressive. Yeah.
All made from Lego Technic, which is the more sort of engineering type of Meccano. But I mean, what a thing. What a thing to build.
Yeah, really cool. I'd quite like to have a go at that. Not building it, but using it.
Yeah, well, trying what comes out the other end.
Yeah.
That would be quite good. So so well done there. And I'll stick a link to that on there because that really is quite something. It'd be interesting to see what they come up with next.
Yeah.
'Cause once you've done one conveyor belt,
You'd want to keep going.
yeah, lots more.
I wonder if you could make a cotton candy machine out of Lego.
When you say cotton candy, do you mean candy floss?
Candy floss, yeah.
Is that sugar and heat, isn't it? And a bit of a blower.
And a
possibly.
big old bowl.
Yes, big bowl if we're really.
You link it all up. Oh, do you know what? Do you know my favourite bit about bonfire nights is all the really good food?
Yes.
Tends to be a lot of good food around.
There does.
Like hot dogs, burgers from the vans.
Hog roast.
Hog roast. Oh, yeah. Candy floss.
I'm not sure candy floss is a food.
Well, no, because you can eat as much as you like and you never get full because it dissolves into nothingness.
It dissolves into sugar is what it does. So I don't think you can eat as much as you want.
True. Hot apple cider.
Yes.
Excited. I'm trying to plan one to go to one on Friday as well. Next week.
No, that is the 5th, isn't it?
Yes. So I want to go to one on the 5th and one on the 6th. So I get to do all of the Guy Fawkes things.
Excellent. Well, apart from going on top of the fire.
Apart from that. Or the fun fair rides.
A lot have been cancelled. So we're going today. Another one fairly locally has been cancelled.
Have they?
Yeah, it sort of fell a bit like dominoes, I think. So a couple of the big ones have been cancelled. And presumably they got to a point where they said, well, we've got to start laying out money. And we don't want to do that if we have to cancel it at the last minute, a little bit like we did with the classic car show. So they get cancelled earlier. So you think, oh, well, actually, that's quite a big one. We're a little village just down the road. That means we're going to get
all the people.
Yeah. So I am slightly worried about how many people we'll get. But we do close the road, so it is a fairly safe environment.
It is, yeah.
It'd be a bit of an issue.
Well, for those that live in the village and slightly around it that go every year, know not to drive, really, don't they?
Yeah, but it's interesting. We do have people come some distance, and we have done for many years, which is nice because...
Including myself this year.
Yes, that's very true.
I will be coming extremely early, though, so that I avoid all of the carnage and parking at your house. Thank you.
Well, there's a £5 charge this year.
We'll bring Chris's car, he can pay.
Excellent. And of course, after Bonfire is Christmas. And I've today cooked the Christmas puddings.
Oh, I missed out. You should have done it tomorrow coming home. I love that smell.
No. Yeah, but tomorrow I'm doing the cake.
Oh, so I'll still get the smell.
Yeah, so I shall mix it up at lunchtime and then pop it in the oven.
So excited.
Takes about 4 hours. But we swapped our hob over the weekend. We've had a ceramic hob for about, nearly 20 years. And it started to play up and I've never liked it.
It's very touchscreeny, isn't it?
Well, it's touchscreeny, but it's also, because it is electric, it's delayed. It takes a while to heat up and when you turn it down, it doesn't turn down for ages. This one's an induction one, which means we've had to throw away a few pans, unfortunately. But my word, it's brilliant.
They're amazing.
It is instantaneous. I can't get over it.
They're so quick to boil things as well. And
yeah, it heats up very quickly, which was a good excuse for me to use my infrared thermometer, which I was pleased about. But they've obviously thought about people converting from gas, because you get a series of blue LEDs that shine on the pan, and there's actually a knob that you turn to turn it up and down. So you still have to press which one you want. It's only a single knob. But it does, you turn it down and you turn it back as good as gas.
Oh, that's good.
Which was good, because we were going to have a gas one, but for many reasons it became difficult.
They're very easy to clean as well, with the induction ones, because it's all flat, minus you've got a hot knob. But
the knob lifts off.
It's magnetic. Yeah, so they're so easy to clean. Yeah. That's what, when the house we were in before, we had gas and it was all the racks, and we wouldn't clean it very often because it would just be so annoying to pull all the racks out, pull all the bits off, wipe everything, get all the gunk out. And then obviously you leave it too long and then it's really annoying to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But this one, just get my little pot of pink stuff.
Yes.
Do some circles round it, wipe it down, dry it off, done. Takes seconds.
Yes. So if you're building a new kitchen,
induction
is the way to go, because gas is going to become quite vilified, I think.
Yes.
In the next few years, we're thinking about heat pumps as well, so we wouldn't need supply at all. It should be interesting.
Do you know what I've just realised? We haven't talked about Halloween at all, and it's Halloween on Sunday.
Yeah, I don't really do Halloween, to be honest. I've never really got it.
I double checked with the neighbours. My street does do Halloween, and apparently there's a lot of children. So I was told to stock up if I wanted to be involved. And obviously I do, because I really enjoy Halloween. So I've stocked up, but I've also eaten some. This is the issue I'm having. I stocked up too soon. So I've got to do one more stock up for Halloween, I think.
The annoyance I've had in the past is that wife of Grumpy, and probably you girls as well, have decorated the outside of the house and bought a shed load of sweets, and then gone out and left me at home to deal with
the knocking.
the knocking. And in the end, I think I just left the pot on the doorstep, just get on with it, basically. It was on. But, yes, it's a slightly odd thing. I don't really get it.
It's not the same here as it is in America, but...
Well, I feel, it's come across... It's a commercialised American thing. Food at every opportunity.
It's the one day the dead can walk on the earth.
Well, it's not at all.
Well, it is if you believe in that kind of thing.
It's not true, is it? Anyway, I found you can have too much pie. Yes, you can.
I quite like pie. I didn't respond then. I just was in shock.
Yes, but not PIE. This is PI. So this is the number that starts 3.141592.
It ends?
No, it doesn't. Oh. No, it's a word for it, which I can't remember.
Exponential.
It's not exponential. It's an irrational number. So it never stops. But somebody has calculated it to 62.8 trillion decimal places.
Mad.
Well, you have to ask yourself why.
Yeah, what is the point?
What is the point of doing that? Apparently, though, it is used as a measure of computer processing. Because he hasn't done it with a notebook and a pen.
Okay.
That would be daft. And it took him 108 days, or it took the computer. The previous run was 303 days. So it does give an indication of computer processing power.
It's
so from
definitely
that
quicker,
end, it's quite useful. And, you know what? It's the same algorithm. It's not, it's nothing. Yeah, he's just run it and burnt some electricity, quite frankly. I think it's worth jumping up and down about and making a big song and dance about the whole thing. And what use is it anyway? Yes, so you can have too much pie.
Yeah, but you can't have too much physical pie that you eat, because I love a pie, especially with a bit of custard.
What with that and your unlimited candy floss?
Yeah.
You won't be getting in that wedding dress.
Well, I don't need to start the wedding diet until like 3 months before I've decided.
Well, it depends how much pie and candy floss you've eaten.
Good point.
So, on that note, Lippy, do you have a top tip for us?
I do have a top tip with a little story.
Oh, good.
Mini story. I'm going to start with the top tip, I think.
Okay.
Don't scare your friends if you don't want to be choked by accident.
Okay.
So, we had some friends over on Friday, just gone, last Friday. We had some friends over and they were all drinking. I don't tend to drink much these days. One of the girls is pregnant, so I was not drinking with her, and we were having a nice chat. And then I remembered that Chris bought it mask for Halloween. God. And no, they were all had quite a few drinks at this point, so no one was really paying attention to what I was doing. And I thought, genius idea, pitch black outside, apart from our fairy lights. I will put the mask on, go out the side door and round and just stand by the door, by the big glass doors, and see if anyone notices me. He had a few of them, got a few laughs. Not everyone had quite noticed what had happened. So as I walked back in the door, I scared the life out of one of the other ones and got almost choked.
Yes, very dangerous thing to do.
It was funny. And I thought to myself, it's fine. No one's going to hit me because there's the glass in the way. So I'll just scare them. But no one's actually going to go into fight or flight mode.
Well,
but
you don't know.
Or just jump through the window to get me.
Well, all sorts of weird things can happen. I do remember somebody did that in our camper van, hid in the toilet, and then came bursting out. And it was as much as I could do not knock them flat. Or just run at them.
Yeah.
So, you do have to be careful scaring people. It's not good.
Yeah.
particularly those with weak hearts.
I did enjoy myself, though, for the first part.
Yes. Good top tip, though.
Yeah, especially with Halloween coming around the corner.
Yeah, just don't scare anybody, and particularly with one of those masks. Anyway, I'm back on the fun facts this week.
Yes.
So this week, Judith Love Cohen was an American aerospace engineer who helped to create the abort guidance system, which was used during the Apollo 13 mission to bring astronauts safely back home. If you remember the story where it all went a bit wrong and they managed to get home somehow. Quite an amazing feat, and a really good film as well. Anyway, she went to work the day her son was born. She took a printout of the problem she was working on to the hospital. She called her boss to let him know that she had solved the problem, and then moments later she gave birth to Jack Black.
That's mad.
Yeah. So Jack Black's mum was an awesome aerospace engineer.
That's how she managed in labour to figure out what the problem was is impressive in itself.
It is. It is very impressive. But what's interesting is how many women were pivotal to the space missions in America. They don't get enough credit, in my view, at all.
No.
That's it for this podcast. Thank you so much for listening.
You can help spread Lippy and Grumpy's view on life by leaving a review on your favourite podcast platform.
If you're not sure how to leave a review, or if you download from Spotify, there's some help at lippyandgrumpy.uk/review.
And if you would like to get in touch, email podcast@lippyandgrumpy.uk.
So it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from him.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.